Hello, everyone. Welcome to the next installment of Student Story Week. You might notice I have a change of scenery here. I've switched spaces. We're all logging in from home and from different places. So we all get to see how each other live, I guess. So just bear with me with my background. But I'm so excited to be here today with Varun. We're going to be talking about life as a student in Northern California. And Varun is a student at Sonoma State University. So Varun, thank you so much for being here. Tell our viewers where you're from.
Hi guys, my name is Varun Thakur and I'm an international student from India, North India, Punjab, and I came here back in 2017 and I started my education in Santa Rosa Junior College. And from
Mhm.
there, I transferred to Sonoma State 2019, and finally, I'm graduating as a Communications and Media Studies major from Sonoma State University.
Awesome. When do you graduate?
I'm graduating tomorrow. Yeah, the graduation ceremony is tomorrow.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
So
Pretty excited.
exciting. Do
Yeah.
you was any family able to come to watch your graduation, or are they logging in virtually?
Yeah, my immediate family, they won't be able to make it because of COVID situation that
Mhm.
they can travel international from my country. And but luckily, I have my aunt who lives in the
Oh,
same
nice.
town as there, so she's gonna be joining me along with her family. And yeah, pretty excited. Yeah.
Oh, that's so nice. And do you have next steps? Do you know what you're going to do after graduation?
Currently, I'm gonna be focusing on my marketing professional career. So I'll
Mhm.
be looking for jobs in like companies who are looking for marketing specialists or operation assistants who need assistance with their marketing and sales department. So I'll be focusing on that, and I've targeted a few companies, which includes a Highwire from San Francisco, and
Mhm.
yeah, there are a few others as well. So yeah, pretty excited.
Very cool. And you mentioned that you started at Santa Rosa and then transferred to Sonoma State. So
Yeah,
we actually we did one of these live streams with Santa Rosa Junior College on Wednesday,
nice.
and we talked with a student who's in the first part of their 2+2. You're obviously finishing out the 2+2. So how was that experience for you? Transferring.
Transfer wasn't that hard for me because when I finished my JC, the
Mhm.
coordinators out there, they already worked for Sonoma State and they helped me transition from JC to Sonoma State pretty easy. And when I met my advisor, her Katie O'Brien, she works for international students. She
Mhm.
literally eased out my whole process, and from there on I never looked backwards. And yeah, then rest is just my journey from being a freshman to a senior now, and I'm graduating finally.
Oh, that's so exciting. And I'm glad you had like a smooth transition.
Oh
Do
wow.
you feel that starting at the junior college was that helpful for you? Like what impact did that have on your study journey?
It definitely helped me in a way that when I started my junior college, my prime focus was to get involved in the community, because
Mhm.
for someone who is traveling, coming from abroad, and there is a huge cultural shock from somebody who's come from the eastern side of the world and coming into the western side, looking at people, how they live. There's a different lifestyle, food, and everything is different about the western culture. So when I came here, my prime focus was not to focus on which major I'll be going for, but to get my general education complete in the first starting 2 years, which includes the GE units and everything. And then once I settle in down, I'll specifically focus on a major which I want to target. And luckily, I got comms was something which literally attracted me a lot. And I went into comms and I finished up my comms bachelor's in less than a year and a half.
That's awesome. I'm so happy to hear that, that start kind of helped you just to get comfortable and get assimilated and figure out what it was you want to do. I feel like that's such a great option for so many international students, especially, and not many people know about that opportunity. So I think it's really cool to hear from someone who's gone through that different pathway, kind of the non-traditional route.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing. That was kind of like a little side topic, but
Yeah,
I,
sure.
I want to take it back a few steps, and I want to know, why did you choose to study in California in the first place?
There's different reasons for that. And specific, the first one would be the weather. I would love to talk about the weather portion of the California, because
Yeah,
California's weather,
please.
it literally connects with my country's weather, like specifically the region I'm from. So like if it's raining out here, it's gonna be raining in my place as well, because they both, the cities, they lie on the same latitude. So for me, it wasn't that hard when I came here. The weather was amazing, and that was something which attracted me towards California. So that was a,
Uh-huh.
and other than that, I wanted to explore. And out of the 50 states, if something caught my eye, was California, because there is so much diversity in California, so many immigrants from different countries, and there's different places to see. And the biggest one, Disneyland, that was my,
Yeah,
the Disneyland was like the highlight of everything. So for me,
I bet.
San Francisco, what, like looking at Golden Gate and going to Disneyland was like, it was just a dream. And then I like, finally my dream came true.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear that. I know I even though I'm from the States, I'm from Ohio, so I'm from, the Midwest region, more up north. And I remember I went on a family vacation to California, like back when I was maybe 14, 15 years old, I think. And once I saw California with my own eyes, I was like, oh my gosh, this is where I want to be. And at the same time, I don't know if you ever saw the shows like The Hills and The OC and Laguna Beach, but there were those shows were popular at that time. So California just seemed like the
It's
dream.
so big. Like I was like back in the day when I used to watch the movies back home, like all these
Uh-huh.
Hollywood movies, and a lot of movies were shot in California. And
Yeah.
yeah, and like when I started watching some Netflix shows as well, and like California was a big highlight, and which caught my eye. So I was like, yeah, if I want to study somewhere, I'll definitely want to go to
That's
California.
where it's going to be. That's so cool. And what made you narrow into Northern California, like the Bay Area? What attracted you to that region specifically?
Bay Area was because Bay Area is famous for tech giants all across the world, and especially if you're talking about Northern California, I think the best tech companies or anything related to my major, they have the best of the best companies out in the northern region of the California in the Bay Area. So that was something I wanted to target. Like if I'm studying somewhere and I'm looking for a job, it should be somewhere where my major has most highlight. So that's why I chose Northern California.
Yeah, that's a great reason, and it's important to think about those things. What else do you have available to you outside of the campus that can
Yeah.
benefit your goals and your journey? So I think that's a really smart decision to look at it that way. Look at the companies that are around because those can always lead to internship opportunities, work opportunities. So yeah, that's a really smart choice.
I was
Um,
lucky. I was lucky enough last year. I got to work for Dolby Atmos. I did an
oh
intern.
wow.
I did an internship for Dolby, and this semester I worked for Primitivo and the student involvement. So I was doing the marketing for student involvement of my campus. Yeah.
Oh, so cool. That's awesome. Yeah, that's great for the resume.
Oh, thank
That's
you.
also something important to think about, what
Yeah.
things you can do to build that resume. Now outside of like the extra, work opportunities and that sort of thing, what do you think is the best part about being a student in Northern California?
Uh, it's just that there is so much diversity in California, and specifically Northern California, that you get to meet a lot of people from different cultures. And
Hmm.
when you're outside the campus, you don't have to think as a student. You are living life in a way that it's basically like you're thinking about it in your dreams, and whenever you see it in reality, it's happening. That's what California is all about. And when I came here, when I met students from different parts of the world, that was something which took my eyes off, and I got to learn about different cultures and different people, and the way they eat, the way they dress. So it's
Hmm.
that part of California which attracted me personally, that I got to learn a lot about many other communities and people I never even knew about before.
Yeah, exactly. You're not only going to meet other Californians, other people from the US, but it is just such a diverse place, like you said. So you meet people from all over the world. Um, Now, I want to know you mentioned earlier in our conversation that it kind of took some adjusting between like Eastern and Western cultures. So what were some of those culture shock moments that you faced?
The biggest one was hard to find Indian food. So in Northern California, there isn't many restaurants because our Indian community is not that strong, specifically when you go towards the Northern California. But if you're like in the Bay Area, Oakland, Berkeley, and all that, there's a lot of food restaurants where you can like easily get Indian food. So, but I was living in Santa Rosa area, so there isn't much food options available. And then the next one was the dressing style. So I literally changed my the way I usually like dress. When I was back there, I was like mostly in jeans and like formal t-shirts. But like when I came here, I saw people like wearing hoodies,
Sweatpants?
pants, and all that. Like literally, I wasn't even wearing those things back in the day, but I like that was such a big thing when I came here, and like I literally changed my sense of fashion. And I
That's
went.
funny. What did you think when you saw people like going to class in like sweatshirts and sweatpants and stuff? What was your initial reaction?
My initial reaction was I was just looking at people. I was like, are you literally coming to school for study or what? Because I grew, I literally grew up in an environment back in my high school that we used to have a very formal dress code that we have to
Mhm.
wear, and then we used to wear that the whole week. We used to have like a couple of pairs we used to wash every 2 days, and then like we used to like wear that the whole week, and that was something we used to do throughout the year. But when I came here, like people are so easy. They're literally coming out of their beds and going to school. So that was so fun. I was like, wow, this is literally the school life I want to want an experience.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely very relaxed. Most universities don't have any sort of like dress code or anything, so you can just
Literally,
kind
people
of
are walking in
roll
this.
out of bed.
Yeah, people are literally walking classes in their slippers. I was like, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but yeah, that's definitely something you'll see on a US university campus for sure.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, again, I don't know what that says about our culture. We
So,
might be a little
I
bit
mean,
too casual.
there's two ways to it. I mean, like, there's two different sides to it. Like when we think about, if we think it about from the Eastern perspective, they'll talk about students not being disciplined about or punctual about
Mhm.
stuff. But if you see from the US perspective, they want students to be eased out. They want to stay them, they want to make them feel relaxed and calm, and they can literally focus on their education rather than how they're dressing or how they're looking. So there's two different side of the story. If it's how you're looking at towards it. So every side has its pros and cons. It's how you
Mhm.
look at it. So yeah.
For sure. And then, kind of moving forward with that topic about fashion, I know you mentioned that the climate is very similar to the climate back home, but there are going to be students coming from all over. So, what should students be aware of when it comes to the weather? I
Uh,
know the first time I went to California, I thought it was going to be like Laguna Beach the whole time. So I only brought like short sleeves and, summer clothes. But with my family, we drove all the way up the coast, all the way to from San Diego, all the way to like Monterey and Carmel. And so I remember being
yeah.
surprised by that. So, what should students know?
So specifically, a student should know that they are coming to the western side of the states, with like in California, and the oceans out here are pretty cold. So the winds and the streams are pretty cold, and during the day you feel like wearing like half sleeve shirts, and you can stay on your shorts. But as the day go by, and when it starts to get like dark in the night, it gets starts getting chilly, so you gotta have at least a sweater or like a hoodie on. So yeah, it gets pretty cold in the evening, but during the day it's pretty warm, especially in the summers. Like it starts somewhere around March and end of March until October. It stays like that, and November till December it gets chilly. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that weather though. That's like that sweet spot where it's not too hot, not too
Not too cold.
cold. Yeah, especially during the day, you just kind of get that comfortable temperature, which is really nice. I want to know, Varun, what kind of things do you like to get into on the weekends? Like, what do you do in your free time? What is there to do, besides studying or working?
Yeah, so like the way I went towards my whole journey of being a student is that for 5 days, like a normal worker, I used to like give my best to school and used to do my assignments throughout the week from Monday to Friday. For Saturday, Sundays, it's just chill time. So I used to take my car, go on a long drive, either go bowling, play basketball. Basketball was a huge thing because back where I'm from, we don't play basketball. Cricket is really, really big. So I literally learned basketball by playing with kids out here in my community parks. And yeah, and that's what we used to do. And then on Sundays, I used to go for games in Marine County. So there's a huge
Okay.
stadium out there, and there is like weekly, every Sunday, Saturday, Sundays, there is cricket games happening. So I used
Oh,
to play.
nice.
I used to play for county, and I'm still playing for county for the next year as well.
Oh, that's so cool. So even though, cricket might not be something that's super common in the States, you were still able to find like a league to get involved in. That's really cool.
Yeah, thank you.
I love that. Awesome. All right, Varun. Well, we are going to start to wrap up our conversation. For any of our viewers, if you have any questions for Varun, you can go ahead and write them in the comments, and I'm sure he'll be happy to answer. But while we wait for any questions to roll in, I want to ask you if you have any advice or any tips for international students who may be thinking about studying in California or at Sonoma State specifically. What would you tell them?
I would literally tell everyone to just be prepared, like for a change. It's nothing is gonna be spoon fed to you guys. So if you're coming from different countries where your family supports you a lot and you have family all the time around you, you have to get adjusted out here. You have to be independent and get things done by yourself. So you gotta be punctual about your things and get your school life on track. But other than that, it's not that stressing. If you know how to settle down by yourself, it'll be pretty easy for the process. But yeah, do follow your routine and just keep everything in check. Yeah, if you start going behind on your school stuff, it will be hard to catch up. But other than that, if you're doing everything in a proper way, you'll be fine. It's a fun journey being an international student because you get to see so much stuff, and specifically in Northern California, you see so much diversity. So you'll meet a lot of people from different parts of the world. Yeah, just
That's
get ready for the
awesome.
experience.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Varun. And that's something that's really been a common thread through most of these sessions we've had. Is like, you are the one in charge of the experience you have. Put yourself out there. Like you said, nothing's going to be spoon fed to you. So you'll really learn a lot of independence, and just make the most of it. Be brave. Go out there.
Be
But
involved. That's what I would say.
exactly.
Be involved in every activity on school or campus, whatever is happening. Just involve in clubs, organizations. If you are involved in campuses, you will learn a lot and you'll gather a lot of memories and experience throughout your journey as a student.
Awesome. I totally agree. Well, thank you so much, Varun, and thank you, John, for being with us today. For
Very
those
well.
of you for those of you watching, John's the guy who's going to be helping you, get to Sonoma State, or if you're transferring from Santa Rosa, John's your guy. And I'm sure Varun, even though he's graduating, I bet he'd be happy to answer any questions you may have. So don't be afraid to reach out to us. And thank you guys again so much for being here. Bye. See you next time.
Bye. Thanks, everybody.